Councillor Nychuk that Committee of the Whole adopt the agenda for the Committee of the Whole meeting August 10th as presented.
Happy to do that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. Live stream going?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Today's consent agenda approval. In the previous meetings, ask for a motion from Councillor Jones that the July 13th, 2026 Special Committee of the Whole meeting minutes be accepted, and July 13th regular Committee of the Whole meeting minutes be accepted as presented.
I'll give you that motion, Mayor Snodgrass.
Thank you. All in favor? Okay, number pieces on the business agenda. First one being 112th Street remediation options. Diana? That's Barb.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm actually here to talk about 112. So before we jump right into what we're here to present, which is the remediation option, just to give everybody a little bit of an overview of the history of 112. This road was actually established in the late 70s, and the town annexed this road in 2012. The county actually was maintaining this road, and in the year 2002, they actually applied a oil surface on that road. The county actually has all the equipment necessary to maintain that level of structure and was able to maintain it. That being said, because when the town annexed the road, with the neighboring communities that are nearby, traffic started to increase in that area, which at this time, that's the reason why we are experiencing this level of dust within that area, because traffic has actually increased. And as it relates to the fact that traffic has increased, the maintenance in that area on 112 actually is ranging in the amount of about 168,000, and that's the amount we actually have to pay to maintain that road, and those numbers are actually coming from the year 2025. So Council has asked us to actually take a look and evaluate what can be done to that road. We actually hired ISL Engineering to complete geotechnical studies on that road. The report came back stating that the road pretty much has clay below it, silt, and is prone to highly frost on the actual area. We actually took 4 boreholes. We actually didn't get to do water monitoring on that road. So what it actually means is that if we choose to do a design on that road, we'd have to take into consideration all the water monitoring. The engineering firm actually came up with 2 options for us to remediate that road. And the first option is actually remediation. And this option includes pretty much surface preparation and pretty much adding 50 millimeters of asphalt overlay on top of that road. The advantages of that is that this option actually comes in at a lower cost to do reconstruction. The disadvantage to that option is that this does not bring the road to the current town arterial structure specification within our standards. This option also will increase ongoing maintenance for the town to maintain. The second option is actually full remediation. Sorry, let me go back. and this option cost is actually, so here's the cost. $768,003.00, and this option does not include the utilities that is required to be under the road, and it does not include engineering. And the second option is full remediation and bringing the road up to standard, to an arterial standards. The advantage to this is that the roadway will be designed to address the geotechnical findings, reduce long-term maintenance requirement compared to targeted remediation every year. The disadvantages to this one is that it's at a higher remediation cost and greater disturbance to the community. Administration looked at the option that was provided, and we came up with a third option: continue maintaining the gravel road. In this option, the town will continue to maintain the road at the highest cost of about $168,000. Disadvantages to this one would be the road would be the lowest cost, and the disadvantage would be ongoing maintenance. Thus, road quality will continue to be of concern to residents, and the sum of the annual cost will continue to equate to the potential capital cost. So next step is that administration would include a budget in the including 27 budget for whichever option council decides to go with.
And I'm, am I supposed?
Yeah, keep rolling. Nicole.
Okay.
You're good, you're good.
Sorry, raise your hand.
Okay.
So I'm also here to support the 112th, and Diana's here to support me presenting 64th Street and 112th, Longview Trail, Colville Trail. So in the briefing note, and as you know, these are key transportation corridors located within the Northwest community and have experienced increasing traffic volumes as developments continue in the area. Together, these roadways support passenger vehicles, construction traffic, semi-trucks, agricultural equipment, and which results in an ongoing and increased maintenance requirement. Longview Trail Northwest is 2.4 kilometers of aging roadway that continues to deteriorate due to heavy traffic, weather impacts, and freeze-thaw cycles. Despite annual maintenance activities, which include pothole repairs and crack sealing, the road remains structurally challenged and is subject to a 75% road ban. Recent traffic counts indicate approximately 3,242 vehicles use this roadway daily. And under the Spitzy area structure plan, the roadway is ultimately intended to be removed and converted to a green space corridor once future development and replacement roadways are in place. 64th Street is an 800-meter gravel roadway that was annexed from Foothills County in 2011 and has seen increasing traffic as residential growth continues in the Northwest area. With an average of 650 vehicles per day, the roadway is approaching the generally accepted traffic thresholds for gravel roads and requires ongoing grading, gravel replacement, and washboarding repairs. Heavy vehicles, high traffic volumes, and weather events continue to deteriorate, while dust suppression measures and a recent geotechnical assessment have been undertaken to help manage the current conditions and inform future rehabilitation needs. Captured within the briefing note are options for council consideration. The desired outcome is for council to provide direction for the future rehabilitation options or for the continuation of current annual maintenance services for both Longview Trail Northwest and 64th Street East. Should council choose to further investigate rehabilitation offers as provided in attachment 4, administration will return to council with updated budgetary numbers for consideration. Does anybody have any questions about either of those?
Thank you. I do. Do we have, for the town as a whole, a prioritized list of roadways that are going to or do already need repair, remediation, or replacement? Do we have a global list that we can look at?
Whatever the list is, these are the first three.
Well, you know, they might be, but I would like to know that we've looked at all of them, because we seem to be, the Band-Aid approach isn't very good planning. I would like to see us have kind of an overview of what roads are urgent, and so that we have like a 5-year plan of road replacement instead of this one's urgent, so let's deal with that.
Well, that's,
Well, that's-
This
so
one's,
that's not how this is, that's not how this has been done for the past 5 years talking about this road. So these are absolutely the top three that we always talk about. You can add in south of Hitchin Post. You can add that one as probably number 4, but there's no question that 112th, 64th, Long Deep Trail, Gold Trail are the top three, and we have to start making some decisions on this. And that's what we can get that list if there's more. But today we absolutely have to talk about, and I'd say we start talking about 112th right now. That's the first one we just presented. But we can get that list.
I'd like a long-term plan or policy that we can look at and say, okay, and so people know if they're not on one of these 3 streets, but they're on the 4th street, they have an idea that we're getting there.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah. So 112th Street, questions from council. Jenny?
A couple of questions. One is you said, utilities and engineering isn't part of the quote that you quoted. What does that mean? And if we do the road, will it end up being dug up when there's construction on either side? Are we concerned about that?
So, yes. To go back to, there's a couple of things to consider. We're also in the process of getting an ASPD completed in that
Yes.
area as well. What we'd have to make sure is that whatever, if we choose to go full option, it would have to be in the correct spot of where we're thinking of putting that road. And to answer your question regarding utilities, utilities was never part of the engineering numbers that they provided. We will have to make sure those utilities are aligned when we're doing the full structure.
So you mean the utilities that are already there?
There is no utilities on there.
Okay, where they would go then?
Yes.
Kathy?
Sorry, just to clarify, the road we built with the intention for utilities to be in certain areas.
Yes.
So whether that's culvert or, okay,
Yeah.
so it would
And all
include
the
that.
infrastructure that's required.
When you talked about number 2, the partial, it talks about ongoing maintenance costs would be higher. Do we anticipate those costs would be higher than what we're currently paying, the 168,000?
So the partial one takes into a number of things. Because you're not doing a full road structure, you're basically prepping the surface and applying asphalt to it. And our fear, as we discussed internally, is that the trucks are now gonna start using these roads and there's gonna cost more wear and tear on it. So you're gonna end up having to be fixing it off, because it's not gonna be a full road structure.
It'll still be 75%.
Yes,
That road, right?
And the underlying issue is below the surface,
that's
which is
correct.
creating all the problems. So this one only,
This one only just gives you
just the
a
surface, yeah.
pretty look, but not a full-on road structure.
Jenny?
Just back to my question about if the road was done before, like the utilities and work is done on either side, are we concerned about that road? Like if we spend all the money putting that road in, that at any point it has to be torn apart for any construction going on either side, or no?
Not unless you're accessing utilities that aren't
So it's
there.
just the utilities that is a concern.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, if you start a subdivision on this side and you have
Here's
a
the
road,
thing, you've got 112th, I'll say it straight up, I'm leaning to option 2. I think the other 2 options are a waste of money, without utilities, but When is development going to happen on the west side of that road? Like, you're 25 years out.
Okay, I agree, I just wanna know, is that
Right.
a concern,
Right.
besides the time frame?
Not in my mind. It isn't. I think that getting that road, I was on there on the weekend, back to the storage unit, and what's been done out there is already pounded out. There's potholes deeper than they were in the spring, so like it's something absolutely has to happen to this road, and I think just doing the option one and spending $800,000 on it, which is what a Band-Aid, that's a Band-Aid fix, like 5 to 10 year lifespan before you're knocking it out, it might be 2 years, right? So I think the base has to be built proper in order to sustain the asphalt, sustain the traffic on it. So yes, it's at $1.3 million, but it is a busy corridor through there, and yes, option 3 is off the table for me. I'm down with 170, 200 grand a year on basic fixes, but so that's to come back to budget in the fall, of course, but that's what I'm doing.
And I think when you take a look at the time horizon of the ASP as well, you know, development doesn't start there for another 20 years. That road's gonna have to be rebuilt again in 20 years, right? And so at that point in time, when you have to put in utilities, when development does proceed on the west side, then you'll be able to rebuild that road again, unfortunately, but that's kind of lifespan of the road. You might not have to do a lot of the road-based issues, but certainly the asphalt and the subgrade, or the subsoil, or not the subsoil, but the finished grades would have to be retouched up in utilities.
So that's what, so you wouldn't put utilities in now with this road?
The biggest issue is if you did put pre-utilities, standards change, right? And that's kind of the problem that you face. Fire flow requirements are changing on an annual basis, that are causing grief in areas that have already been redeveloped or under redevelopment from that perspective. So I think you gotta be careful on the timing of putting in the underground utilities.
That would be a concern, that road could possibly have to be somewhat, not the whole thing, part of it could be done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Vicky?
What would be the engineering costs, because we're gonna incur them, utilities or not,
Mm-hmm.
and, just ask, where do we get the money
Engineering cost,
for the option 2?
for the option 2.
Yeah.
Well, right now, the option 2, the funding formula here is coming from the capital reinvestment fund, because it's about $100,000 to do this design work for option 2, correct?
So the engineering and design is included in the 1.3 quote.
No,
it's not.
no,
It's not.
Okay. Yeah. So it's about $100,000 is the estimate to do detailed design on option 2. And that would come from CRIF at this point in time. Funding for the rest, we would have to either take from offsite levies, because it's an offsite levy road, or any of our grant funding, like LGFF or Building Canada.
We have some of that left?
We get annual allocations. So
Are they enough to?
I can't answer that right now.
Okay.
Could we do partial, like do engineering, like, I know, to stay in this year, right? Get it all, kind of like we've done with other projects, we get everything ready to a point where it's shovel ready or whatever.
Certainly, you know, at the end of the day, there's no recommendation before council today, right? I think we have to come back to a regular council meeting. We're about to start the budget process with council in October. So we're pretty close to that timeframe to have this conversation about the design works. And so if you want to get started faster, then we need to bring something forward for September, early September, to have early budget approved for the design. Or just to wait, because we're still probably 3 or 4 months worth of design work. And then tender is probably another month and a half kind of time frame. So if you wanted to build next year, then we'd have to get something early September. If it was not, if we were prepared to kind of just continue on status quo for 1 more year, one that allows us to collect some more grant funding, right? Complete the aquatic facility, and then also go after some grant funding through the STIP, the Strategic Transportation Infrastructure Program as well, that comes out later this fall.
Jen?
I agree, I do feel that this road definitely needs something done to it. I know we've talked about Longview Trail, and I don't wanna disregard it because it's important, but it has double the daily commuters on Longview Trail. I understand the road isn't as bad, but we can't keep going with that road either. The way we have 3,200 cars that travel that road daily. So that's gonna fall apart as well. So I'd like to see that both these roads have consideration in the future.
Yeah, and I think Longview Trail, for example, the future of it is kind of deletable, right? A portion of that road, because it does kind of go turn into green space in the future Spitzy area structure plan. So any investment is, we have to go into it knowing that if we're gonna resurface it or improve it, is that at some time when development does proceed, which is further ahead than the northeast area structure plan area, right? We do have some pending applications out in the Spitzy area.
Okay.
But we do have also some funding agreements that still have to be signed and executed, that transfer some of that cost onto the development community. So, you know, that's gonna be a timing issue as well.
Absolutely.
And we're already 13 years into the Spitzy area structure plan and we haven't seen anything really progress, right? And so just trying to be realistic on timelines, and how the investments have to take place. And Longview Trail, Cold Trail might be better with an interim Band-Aid solution, because we don't know.
Well, it isn't as bad as 112, but
No.
I get that.
Yeah, and 112, a lot of the issues is the migration of the water from stormwater, right?
Yeah.
And it's not being deep enough beyond the septics.
Okay, so why don't we, well, all three of these comes back to 2027 budget discussions and council can, pull the trigger there because there's 100 different ways that we need to consider every budget. So this is part of it as to what we're gonna commit next year's budget to. So, but the information is there for us now and I appreciate that. Any other questions before we leave this one? Riley?
So 2027 budget would be for design works, correct?
No, 2027 budget, I want it for everything. I want just what you've done today, as though we're going to
You want construction for 2027?
construction, design work, and then council during budget can say, we're not doing construction, we will do design.
Construction becomes very challenging without a design in 2027 in advance.
Fair enough. Bring us estimates that we can consider during the budget for the month. Then we'll tell you how much we're gonna spend.
I think what Riley's saying is we need design money
Yeah,
in
without-
this budget year in order to complete a road in 2027.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. Thank you, Kathy.
Asking for, no. If council wants to accelerate the design, we have to amend the budget by resolution. And so
Sorry, I'm confused, like you gave me a number of 1.3 million today to rebuild that road.
Correct.
What am I missing?
It hasn't been designed. That's an estimate. So we don't have grades, we don't know what's the spec on the asphalt and the rock. Where does the water go on the layout?
So this is a class D estimate. Super high level. No details.
If I may add something,
Please help me.
because I hear the 1.3 number keeps repeating. If we're gonna build this road to the proper standards and add utilities will probably double this cost.
Yeah, no, I get that. I'm gonna take utilities out of it. We just
Okay.
need to look good. Utilities come out, just what you
Yes.
presented, like. What do you need for us to come back this fall in budget with a number that we can
Well,
seriously consider rather than a spitballing?
so for a firm number for council to consider, we would require detailed design for a firm number for council to consider. That's gonna be that actually will miss your budget deliberations, to be quite frank, even if we
Yeah,
start.
we won't be able to turn that around in time.
We'll be able to turn around. So what I'm suggesting is budget for design for 2027, right? Get the design done, properly vetted and properly tendered out there from that perspective, instead of rushing through a tender process and getting poor pricing, and making sure that we've got the design done the way we want it done for what this next 20-year plan for the road actually is going to be.
Sorry, I thought that's what I asked, done, and that's where the 1.3 came from, so.
Yeah. They just took out an inch and said, it's X number of, hundreds of dollars per linear meter, and that's what it is.
Okay.
So we wouldn't be actually doing the road to until 2028.
Likely. We could accelerate it, but it's gonna be a tight construction window for how much work has to take place there.
So right now, coming back 2027 budget, we need to give you the green light to bring us back the budget consideration for detailed design.
That's right.
Done.
And do you want the same thing for Longview Trail as well, or?
Or are we gonna take one at a time?
Yeah, I think this one, I mean, I'd love to, but this one's definitely.
Yeah, we gotta
Do
take
it.
one and
Yeah.
get going. So let's focus on 112 for this budget.
Aren't they funded by offsite levies though?
Pardon me?
These roads that we're talking about are funded by offsite levies, are they not?
112 partially,
Partially is,
full trail would not be.
yeah, because it would be, we have to remember that sometime in the future, Cold Trail, portions of it get deleted and get relocated.
Kathy?
If we only do partial remediation of Longview Trail out there, would it require engineering?
Do you mean option number 2,
Uh,
the chip sealing?
yes,
No, we wouldn't need it.
so we wouldn't, I guess my question was going to be, if we needed engineering, is that something you want to consider in this 2027 budget?
Yeah, chip sealing wouldn't require engineering.
That's what we did this year.
We did, cracks
It's spray
and
patching.
spray patching.
Are we good? You know what you're doing?
Clear direction, design, bring back design proposal for detailed design to budget 2027.
On
Status
112?
on 112, status quo for Longview Trail and 64.
Correct.
Okay.
Thanks, Nicole.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Diana. Infill development permit, Michelle? There you go.
Okay, good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Michelle Delmer with Planning Development, speaking to item 4.3 on your agenda. The proposed development permit is for a total of 3 units, which includes a detached dwelling with a secondary suite and a detached garage suite at 216 Lee Ave Southeast. The property is zoned traditional neighborhood district and is considered an infill development within an established residential area. Town plan policies state that infill development should ensure that the form and character of new development respects and complements the existing neighborhood character. The applicant is proposing to use similar materials and colors to those found throughout the neighborhood. Additionally, the proposed development is a permitted use under the land use bylaw and is meeting all the regulations of the traditional neighborhood district. At this stage, administration is just seeking council's feedback on the proposed development in alignment with the subdivision and development authority bylaw, which delegates council as the approving authority for all major development permits and infill development permits. Following circulation and review of comments, the application will be refined as necessary before being brought forward to council for a decision. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Just one,
Vicky?
I'm familiar with that property, and there's an alley behind and an alley beside. And the corner, when people are turning the corner on those out, that cross alley, that's very tight in there. Has this taken that into consideration?
So that's actually a separate lot that's on the corner. This is interior to that corner lot.
I'm not talking about the corner on the street, I'm talking about the alley.
There's two lots. There's one that borders the alley, and then there's one that's, just interior to it. I'm not sure if you can zoom
Okay.
in.
Okay, I wasn't sure if they were
Yeah.
taking the whole parcel.
This is the one that you're talking about, right? 214 borders the laneway.
Yeah.
This one's on the interior one, 216.
So there'll still be a bare lot beside it.
Yeah, that's correct.
Thanks.
Any other questions? There's no variances on this, this is just a heads up.
That's correct. It's
No
just,
decision
it's an
needed by
infill.
council.
Yeah, it's just because it's an infill development, it's meeting all the regulations of the land use bylaw.
Doesn't it have a setback issue? Like a front setback? I thought I saw that in there.
No, this one is meeting all setbacks.
Any concerns from council?
No.
None?
No.
Okay,
You're good?
thank you.
Thanks, Michelle. Uh, 6:05. Sarah? Corey?
Yes,
Oh, there you are.
Yes, good afternoon, Mayor and Council. The Planning and Development Division received a revised submission regarding the development permit application for 605 McLeod Trail Southwest. The original application was accepted on October 27, 2025. Following the town's refusal of the application, the applicant appealed that decision to the Subdivision and Development Appeal Board, and the SDAP issued its decision on February 14th, 2026. Today's presentation, the purpose of today's presentation is to seek committee of the whole feedback on the revised submission. And the revised submission has been reviewed against the 4 key SDAB conditions. Firstly, the board required that the development be restricted to only 3 stories in height. The original proposal contained 4 levels and 24 units. The revised submission removed the basement level and now proposes just 3 levels with a total of 17 dwelling units. Administration notes that the revised submission is consistent with the SDAB condition requiring that the development be restricted to only 3 stories. Secondly, the board required a 1-to-1 parking ratio. The revised proposal includes 17 dwelling units and 17 stalls. Administration notes that the revised submission is consistent with the requirement of a 1-to-1 parking ratio. Third, the board required a single vehicle access. The original proposal included an access both from McLeod Trail as well as from the rear lane. The revised submission removes that access from McLeod Trail and provides only the single access from the rear laneway. Administration notes that the revised submission is consistent with that SDAB requirement for 1 single vehicle access. And fourthly, the board required compliance with the minimum landscaping requirements for the land use bylaw. Administration notes that the revised submission is consistent with the landscaping requirements established by the SDAB and the land use bylaw. The revised application has been circulated to internal departments and external agencies for technical review. Any comments received will be provided to the applicant and addressed either prior to a decision or through conditions of approval. At this time, administration is seeking the committee of the whole's feedback before returning to council with a draft notice of decision for its consideration as its role as development authority. Are there any questions?
Of course there is.
I have a question, but being that this is a subdivision, like it had to go through the appeals process, who has the ultimate authority to make those decisions? Like, if they've already granted them, can
Yes.
this council have say in any of that?
That's a great question, and I will respond by looking at the actual conditions that the SDAB put in their order. And one of the conditions is that the revised development permit application submission, the permit submission shall be to the satisfaction of the development authority. In this case, the development authority is council. So we do need to make sure that they are meeting these four restrictions, four requirements that I went through, but ultimately it is the development authorities, it is to the development authority's satisfaction.
Sarah, tell me about the single access.
Right,
Why not the McLeod Trail one as well?
it's because we have that restriction in our land use bylaw to limit the amount of crossings we have over the town sidewalks. And the reason they chose the laneway as opposed to the McLeod Trail is like I said, to limit the crossings over the sidewalks. Yeah, so we're not breaking up the pedestrian connectivity of the town.
There's a lot of sidewalk crossings in my river. I don't think one more would be detrimental to, I'd like to see the second one off of McLeod. Just to,
Or if there was only one, would that be a preference?
yeah, if there was only one, would McLeod be the preference? I don't know. But I don't think you can.
Yeah, it is pretty specific in the SDAB decision.
Go ahead, Garth.
On that, being that laneway is the only access into that laneway is very narrow. Like, you have no room, like a fire truck, I'm not sure that would go down that laneway in behind. And if that's your only access into that property, I perceive a problem. Like, you just can't make that laneway is just very, very narrow.
Well, the weekly garbage trucks to go pick those bins up.
They pick them up front, don't they?
They have
Oh,
to
no,
pick
to
them.
pick in there, to pick them, but I mean,
Pick them in where he's got those garbage
They have to go.
bins.
they have to go
all
in
the way
there, and I don't think there's enough room for that big of a truck in there. Cause I thought the rest of the garbage ones, I don't think our trucks go down that alley.
No.
It's not narrow street.
This is something that our engineering division is looking at, but I do want to be cognizant that in the SDAB's decision, they said that the development authority's requirement for a single access point is consistent with accepted planning principles related to access management and public safety. The board finds that compliance with the section of the land use bylaw can be reasonably achieved without undue hardship of the appellant. So that was the decision that's in place.
That's fine, but is that laneway even a two-way accessible? Like, if one person's going down, and can another person pass? Like, if there's not easy way for two cars to pass, I don't think it's an acceptable access point.
Okay, that's fair. We could bring it back and discuss with the applicant and engineering.
I think engineering's not here, but I'll speak to it. The lane is 6 meters, so if it's paved in its full width, 2 passenger vehicles can pass each other. The concern comes with the garbage and how it's being handled. And that is something engineering is looking at in terms of running a turning template, because we're not sure if the garbage, the way it's currently laid out, could actually access or not. So that's still being determined.
Okay.
And I guess a question for Sarah, I'm pretty bit on the spot, was SDAB specific to where the one access point would be?
No.
So if we were, to Craig's point, move something from McLeod, are we still meeting the intent of the direction from SDAB?
I think I agree with you. I think we need to also be aware that our land use bylaw speaks to needing to use the laneway if there is one available, but you're absolutely right. The SDAB decision does not specifically talk about that it has to be. It just says single access points, yeah.
Thank you.
One option too for the garbage is to get those, I can't remember what they're called, the ones that, the bags.
The bags.
And put a rate on the laneway, maybe even where one of the handicap stalls are. And switch one, put a handicap stall in a different spot or move it over. Then they could actually gather the garbage right from one at, right from the alley and lift it into the truck. Instead of the turning rate, that's right.
That's
There's fire trucks there. The fire trucks still gotta get in there.
The fire truck would never enter that parking lot.
No.
They'd be within the fall zone, and the class of any building, so they would defend from the use the ladder truck from the outside, all from the outside, so.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yep, sorry. One of the other key SDAB decisions was the landscaping requirement, and I'm just taking a look at the McLeod Trail layout and adding some more or a driveway coming off of McLeod Trail would eliminate some of that landscaped area, and they are right down to exactly 40%. So they might run into some issues with compliance with the SDAB decision if we are directing them to have the entrance from McLeod Trail.
It would also impact parking or less parking on that street.
But let me bring you back to Jenny's first question though. Who's got the final say in this? Right, so SDAB's given us their thing, but you mentioned earlier that one of the clauses in there is that whatever happens has to meet the development authorities. Right?
I agree with that statement, yes.
And that's us.
Mhm.
So if we see that McLeod Trail access is critical to try to make this thing work as best as we possibly can, I will give up some of that landscaping. Absolutely. Just
Yes.
you can, you just gotta be able to work with the community and that lane is, and being the only access in and out is a concern of mine, there's no question.
We're gonna forego the 1-to-1 ratio then though, if we're gonna put that access there, because it's gonna take away some parking spots, so.
I don't think it will, it's like what Jamie said, if you move those
Oh, the
garbage
garbage
cans
cans?
over,
Okay.
there's your access.
I guess.
Right there, right? So you can retain the 1-to-1. If not, you could have maybe an extra one right there. I don't know, but I'm not the architect of the project, so. That's kind of, go ahead, Cody.
Yeah, I think that's what is important for council to consider, is that we are soliciting feedback from the development authority on this site plan that we will share with the architect.
Good.
So if council's desire is to consider a different egress into the property, provide administration with that feedback, we will take that back to the architect, and then that becomes the architect's problem to solve.
Thank you.
Not at this table.
Good. Jenny?
If they, let's say they kept the laneway, are they responsible to pave it to meet the, what did you say, 6-foot standard?
Yes. Early
Yes.
feedback that we have gotten back is that that's certainly being considered, that laneway would be required to be paved. There's another piece of the decision that's been provided by the SDAB, is that technical requirements beyond that decision could be added to the development authority's approval suite. And that's what we're examining right now, is the need for that laneway to be paved to that access.
Any other feedback? Council?
Yeah, sure. The frontage, the McLeod Trail. This is more of a, I guess, a discussion with the architect and the developer. If,
So the north side facing McLeod is Councillor Nychuk's question, and back up, right there,
right there,
right? That,
we've had lots of council comment, lots of, community resident comment on the appearance and whatnot. That's important to all of us in some way, shape, and form. for me, coming from my perspective, I'm not, I just thought that that frontage onto McLeod could be somewhat more attractive in terms of its curbside appeal. Pardon?
It's not plain.
No, it's not plain, but it's a pretty big flat front wall that looks more like an entrance to a community center than a residence. That's just me, and I just wanted to bring it up to see if there were, you know, other observations from anybody else at the table. I'm not telling them to redesign their building, but I just thought it might. I don't know what it is. It just doesn't.
It does look like they're trying to maintain some of the existing plant material trees, like the larger trees along that side. I think they just kind of shaded them out, so I agree, it looks a little plain, but I also realize that there's a lot of existing plant material that's likely to stay. Kind of looks like it anyways.
That was the intention of not bringing the building as far forward as it could have gone otherwise.
Thanks, Jamie. Good point.
Anything else? You're good, sir? Corey?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Northeast Area Structure Plan, Transportation Corridor Alignments. Sarah and Corey.
Thank you. Yes, thank you, Mayor and Council. The purpose of today's report is to provide the Committee of the Whole with an update on the Northeast Area Structure Plan and seek feedback on 3 specific matters. Those are the proposed industrial transportation corridor alignment, the proposed road acquisition and funding framework, and finally proposed amendments to the interim development policies. Administration presented the draft Northeast Area Structure Plan to the Committee of the Whole on June 22nd, 2026. At that meeting, the Committee of the Whole provided feedback regarding interim development opportunities, infrastructure funding, and the proposed transportation network. Committee of the Whole also heard from affected landowners regarding development opportunities and road alignment considerations within the plan area. Following the meeting, administration met with members of the landowner group as well as their planning consultant on July 27th, 2026. Administration also received written submissions from the landowners, all of which will be considered as part of V3's What We Heard report. Regarding the landowner consensus on the road alignment at the workshop, a general consensus was achieved among the participating landowners regarding the preferred alignment for the proposed industrial truck corridor. The proposed alignment also maintains the opportunity for a future connection to 24th Street Southeast and supports the eventual removal of the Highway 2 slip ramp. Secondly, the proposed funding approach. Administration is seeking feedback on the proposed road acquisition and funding approach that emerged through the discussions that we had on that July 27th meeting with landowners. The approach contemplates the town acquiring the future road corridor lands at fair market value, and construction of the road and related stormwater infrastructure being funded through offset levies, and water, sanitary, and storm servicing benefiting the future development on private lands being funded through a local improvement tax. Administration notes that the proposed acquisition method, payment at fair market value, of the corridor lands differs from the town's standard practice to dedicate the road, under which developers are generally expected to dedicate the required road right-of-way as part of the development process. That stated, the east-west portion of the proposed corridor may warrant a separate consideration and the potential acquisition by the town based on the routing of the segment. And finally, administration is seeking feedback on the proposed amendments to section 4.3 of the draft area structure plan, and those relate to the service and employment areas. These amendments are intended to provide greater flexibility for interim development opportunities prior to the extension of full municipal servicing and the completion of all planned infrastructure improvements. Key changes include the existing framework to support an interim employment development, limited subdivision opportunities prior to full servicing, and the ability to consider private water and wastewater systems where municipal services are not yet available and the development is otherwise consistent with the area structure plan. Administration believes that these amendments will help balance the near-term development opportunities with the long-term vision of the Northeast Area Structure Plan. At this time, administration is seeking feedback from the committee of the whole's feedback on the proposed industrial transportation corridor alignment, the funding framework, and the policy amendments, so they may be considered as part of the ongoing revisions to the draft area structure plan. Are there any questions?
Council questions, Jenny?
Yes, so back to, number 2, the proposed, road funding approach. With the note, with the administration, notes that, the town standard practice under which developers are generally expected to dedicate the required road right of way as part of the development process. Is this part of the percentage that, like, there's a percentage of area that is dedicated to, like, the town for parks, recreation, or is this a separate type of dedicated
Yes.
area?
That's a great question. Like you said, there is a process for getting the parks, the open space, the green spaces. That is a separate process. The properties on 112th Street, which are considered employment area 1, they actually dedicated that municipal reserve for the parks and the open spaces to Foothills County when they had not yet been annexed into the town. And as a result, the county was able to have funds towards the Highwood High School, and that was many years ago. So this would be a separate process from the Parks and Open Space Municipal Reserve.
So they don't have to put any other municipal reserve into this area structure?
No, not the properties within employment area 1, because they are fully paid. They paid that money to Foothills County when they were still pre-annexation.
Okay. And then it says the east-west portion of this proposed corridor may warrant separate consideration. Why would that be?
Yes, can I, actually, maybe that's not a bad one. Maybe I could see the full map. The one, yeah. That'd be great. So the east-west portion that we're talking about here is this, and it's actually straddling 2 private properties. So part of it is going to someone who owns this piece of land, as well as the individual who owns this piece of land, and that is taking a larger amount of land out of those 2 individual parcels, as compared to what people would be losing for this segment. So that's the reason.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
Kelly?
When we look at the amendment 4.3, the service and employment area, we talk about a framework and allowances. Will that be laid out prior to the completion of the ASP? Will it be a part of the ASP, or is it a separate document?
Yes, that's a great question. So if I could draw your attention to, I guess it's the last attachment to this, where I have crossed out a few things and added some items in red. So those are actually a part of this Northeast Area Structure Plan. So the idea would be to get feedback from committee of the whole today, and then relay that back to our consultant so it can fully go into this plan.
Thanks for clarifying.
Thank you for the question.
So that was my question. So what exactly are you looking for from us today? Is if there's any major red flags that we've got?
Yes, exactly, yeah, so, it was, I think, very good news for, administration that we were able to get to that clear consensus with the landowners about the road placement. But certainly, if there are any red flags, like you said, from members of the committee of the whole, we would really, appreciate hearing from them, from you about that as well. We would like to hear any red flags, as you said, about our thoughts about funding, the road and the infrastructure, as well as anything that we had added in red here, because we are going to be having a follow-up meeting with our consultant to give them the next steps and the clear direction.
Okay, so let's just talk about the funding. For a minute. So the town will acquire the land.
Yeah, that's the first part, paying fair market value, and that is a unique and different process from what the town
For sure.
usually does.
But we've got a unique and
Absolutely,
section of land, right?
that's right,
We would buy that.
yeah. And then the next piece is off-site levies for, infrastructure that's benefiting kind of the town as a whole, or a larger piece than just the individual landowners. But then, the infrastructure that's benefiting the individual private properties, that would be funded by, a local improvement tax.
Is this whole area not basically supporting the landowners in their processes of either building, selling, right, or doing something with their land? So really, it's benefiting them. This road too would also benefit those businesses they put there.
If I could, just advocate or just, share some of my thoughts that we had at that meeting, is there's a piece of this road that benefits the industrial development to the south, once it's connected to the slip ramp. So the portion that was discussed to be, funded by offsite levy, that would be the portion that would benefit the whole community. And that portion would be, conveying traffic, industrial traffic from the south, east areas of High River North, as would be industrial truck route.
Fair enough, but is it not benefiting them as well?
100%.
Okay, yeah. Increasing their value of the land, increasing what they can do with it, having both sides of the road as an area of potential sellability or building, right? So we can't just say that it only benefits the town.
So but this is the difficulty with this many landowners involved in a major project like this, that will become a major project someday. And that if you think at some point in time that everybody's going to agree on pulling the trigger on this road, and they're all gonna put their funding into it, it's not gonna happen. The only way that this is going to happen is that the town fronts the money up front and recoups back as development goes. Is that not correct? But
I see it from a similar way, Mr. Mayor, that, in order to instigate the construction of the road, it's probably something that the town is going to have to champion. That being said, the servicing that then goes on either side of the road, that is a benefit to the landowner.
Yeah.
So that's why we talked about the idea of having that through a local improvement tax, that then would be pinned to those properties, and they would have to pay that back over a period of time.
What time frame are we looking at? 10 years?
For this road.
where's my dice?
Yeah.
Having the landowners beside us today, they certainly advocated for sooner rather than later. There are some, landowners there that have fairly, that have development aspirations, absolutely. And some of those development aspirations would have to be tied to municipal services, in order to come true, related to fire flows and the services that go along with sanitary servicing and water.
Kelly?
looking, can we go on to one, are we still on funding?
Nope, you can move on.
When we look at the, employment area and being able to build it, I mean, I think a good job has been done of protecting the town moving forward and not getting us locked into situations where we can't move to that next level of, bringing in municipal services and that. I just wanna be clear, did the landowners, did they agree that this is enough, sorry, my words are leaving me today, that they can do some work on there temporarily? Does this satisfy some of their current ideas for what they might wanna do? Did you get that kind of feedback from them? Are they happy with this amendment?
We wrote these amendments based on the feedback that we received, but we haven't gone to them directly to go through it like line by line
Right,
at this
that's
point,
right.
but it was based on discussion.
Any other questions, comments? You got what you need? Corey?
In order to move this one forward, the strategy would be to connect with our consultants and get them to wrap this up into a draft area structure plan and bring that back to either council for first reading or back to committee of the whole for a final thumbs up. So can we take these recommendations that we have in this briefing note and provide them to the consultant as council supporting?
Jamie?
Just one comment on the slip ramp, and I'm fine with us eventually taking that out. Isn't there like something that maybe we have to write into this ASP that is tied to discussions that you've had with the Alberta government, Craig, about the slip ramp and the overpass?
Last time they talked to me was like 8 years ago. So,
Was there anything in writing?
no,
Okay.
I said you can take the slip ramp out when you rebuild the clover leaf. So you can put that timeline into your bucket.
Yeah.
We got way more important.
Yeah, fair enough. I just wanted to make sure there was
No,
no things that we had.
no, the rationale for removing that was a bit of a joke too, so, but anyways.
Okay.
Yeah.
What point would the town be required to acquire these lands? And who would say they'd have to be, we would have to build that road?
It would be part of an offsite levy process. That the funds would come out of an offsite levy account or reserve account to
What
acquire
I
the
do,
road.
yeah.
And the timing ultimately is council's on that.
On where the priority lands and council's left. It's just one council wants to pull the trigger and start acquiring land and budgeting for the road, but it's a big,
Well, the offsite levy bylaw has to be updated first to incorporate all this, right? So that's a long process and stuff.
I know that's not the, like it says, it's not the traditional way to do it, and I get the whole landowner thing, but like the benefit, like the, you know, we're doing the ASP, we're putting in the 112, you know, and now we're gonna do this road, and all of this in turn benefits landowners in the long run. So, I don't know, it's hard, I just don't wanna be told that, well, now you have to do it because we want it.
Landowners are paying for the ESP. You're not paying for it. We're,
Well, in all, we're,
Just saying.
yeah,
you just stay there.
Yeah.
Towns.
but otherwise it wouldn't get done, right?
We footed the
Yeah.
bill.
We fitted some of this bill too, yeah.
Yeah, because you own a lot there, you're landlord.
You know what, not only that, but this wouldn't get to this process otherwise.
but the yeah, you're right, Jacob, but the ASP is pennies compared to what land acquisition and building a road would be. That's a whole other, and you know, that's gonna be the difficulty is for council to decide is when they pull the trigger on this project. That's a big thing, so, you know, my opinion, we take one step at a time. Right now, we've got 112 that absolutely needs to be rebuilt. You just gotta get this ASP done, and chew on 112 and work forward from there. Can't do it all at one time. It's gonna be years and years and years.
Well, I just wanna make sure that that isn't holding us to doing this when we're told to do it. You know what I mean?
Now, we don't let Jeff do that every day.
You got what you need?
Yes, thank you.
Good, thanks Corey, thanks Sarah. Oh, Corey, you're on this one too, right? Oh, I'm
is it?
sorry. You're on all three.
Oh, is it the?
You wanna get out stuff?
Okay, take us through this one.
Oh dear, I thought there was someone else before me. Anyway, me again. Yes, Mayor and Council, administration is bringing forward a preliminary review of the proposed major development permit application for the construction of 3 buildings intended to accommodate light industrial and commercial uses within the service and employment district. This application is not yet complete. However, the applicant has requested that the proposal be presented to committee of the whole at this stage to obtain feedback in advance of the formal application review process. It is important to note that this parcel was subject to a previous development agreement where a portion of the utility infrastructure was constructed, although the approved development never proceeded. The applicant has indicated that the existence of this infrastructure is a key constraint affecting the proposed site layout. Several variances to the land use bylaw have been identified based on the current design. As this is not a complete application package yet, administration's review remains preliminary and subject to change as additional information is provided. The requested variances can be grouped into 5 categories: building placement and lot layout, public realm and frontage standards, access parking and site circulation, landscaping, and fencing. I'll go through those one by one. Starting off with building placement and site layout, the proposed site layout results in a front setback that exceeds the maximum permitted setback within the service and employment district. Building B also exceeds the secondary front setback requirement, and the applicant has indicated that the existing site servicing infrastructure is a key constraint. Further review will be required once a complete application package has been submitted. Public realm and frontage standards. Administration's primary concerns relate to the absence of a sidewalk along 4th Avenue Southeast and the absence of street trees along the 24th Street Southeast frontage. The town's active transportation plan identifies a future pedestrian connection along 4th Avenue Southeast, and administration does recommend the construction of that sidewalk along the frontage as part of the development of the site. While street trees are proposed along the 4th Avenue frontage, administration also recommends that street trees also be provided along the 24th Street frontage. The applicant has provided elevation plans for the proposed buildings. However, the confirmation of the proposed transparency percentages is still required. Administration has no concerns about the proposed vehicle access widths to support 2-way movements. And administration also has no concerns about having 2 access points. However, administration does have concerns with the quantity of parking and the prioritization of parking over landscaping. While the current land use bylaw permits parking areas to cover up to 50% of the site, administration has concerns that the site design places a greater emphasis on parking rather than landscaping and building placement. Then moving along to landscaping. Administration is proposing a landscaped area. The applicant is proposing a landscaped area of approximately 5.6% of the site. That is in comparison to the minimum requirement of 15% as per the land use bylaw. Administration does not support this variance. The current site plan includes paved areas that do not appear to serve a functional purpose and could be landscaped. Administration is of the opinion that there is an opportunity to increase the landscape percentage of the site. And finally, fencing. The applicant is proposing a 1.83 meter or 6-foot chain link fence within the primary frontage of 4th Avenue Southeast, whereas the land use bylaw permits a maximum fence height of 1.2 meters. Given the storage-oriented nature of the development and the need for site security, administration supports the requested fence variance height and the proposed perimeter fencing. As for ongoing technical review, administration's review of the application remains ongoing. As part of the formal review process, administration will continue to review the 2007 development agreement, the existing servicing infrastructure, and other technical information to better understand these site constraints and that may be influencing the proposed development. Additional constraints may be identified through this review. Once this application is deemed to be complete, administration will process the file, including all internal and external circulations and technical reviews. Committee of the whole feedback received today will be compiled and forwarded to the applicant for their consideration. Are there any questions?
Jamie?
I think, I agree with your variance on the landscaping. I think we should hold it to the 15%. I don't want it to, this is my opinion, just to be this heat-seeking, industrial area. Soften it up. I think the other thing too, that if the property that's directly to the west of there, there's existing sidewalk and it ends right at the property line. And I know I got it brought up in a discussion with the developer, like what's the plan? And this is just a comment for the greater area is what is our plan. We have sidewalks in some areas and we don't have them in other areas. And you made a comment that it was not there.
That's correct, and it is part of the active transportation plan. So that area has been identified as a future sidewalk. So I think that this is the opportunity to get that.
Was there any other, so in that comment, around the corner, there's a new storage facility that was put in kind of over by Rowan House?
Yes, so in our active transportation plan, it actually identifies the future sidewalk going on the opposite side of the road.
Okay.
So that's why we did not push for a sidewalk just to wrap around, because our active transportation plan does not identify it on the west side. It identifies
So
on the
it's
central.
on the Technation side is where they're, on the Autoplex side, Technation, that's
Yeah.
where the new, so all of them will be forced to put a sidewalk in? Cause
That's
other than that, it sort of
yeah.
ends at Fourth Avenue, doesn't go anything else. There's no sidewalks in that whole area.
That's correct. The idea was to have it on the other
That's
side.
what it's called, Technation, Autoplex, none of them have one right now.
So Technation,
Well, Technation,
they did not have to put one in? Cause that's a fairly new build.
I would have to look back. It was Technation might have been accepted before we finished our active transportation plan.
but will they, then they will have to add their sidewalks to all of those properties along 24th?
Sorry.
No, we would not go retroactive. It would not be a retroactive requirement.
So to make a sidewalk dead end at the end of his property doesn't really go anywhere.
Goes to his property, completes the block and bring people out to 24th, so there's still some value.
So it would come across as little piece, right? They come down Fourth.
Yeah, come to the intersection
On
there,
this side. Right?
ideally, yeah,
So he only has to do the south side of his property.
correct.
That's right, because that is in line with our active transportation plan.
Well, I'm in support of the sidewalk, at least to get to that point.
Just go. Okay, can I go, Craig? Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay. As far as the landscaping, I agree, 5% doesn't cut it. When you stand out in that area and you look at Technation and Kubota and Tractorland and all of those, you know, those properties were landscaped appropriately. It enhances that neighborhood. That is a visual still from the highway, albeit a block back, but landscaping, I think is still a priority. I'm not concerned about landscaping on site. Where I'm concerned about is landscaping around it. If it's gonna be a higher fence, the likelihood of, we can't necessarily see what's happening inside. Where I would like to see the landscaping is on the exterior. I have no, I mean, it's not an issue. It's a confined development, so I have no problem with there being little to no landscaping on the interior. It's the exterior that adds to the community, and the look of it and the feel of it. So, that's where I would like to see the requirements increased for sure.
Just a question too, what's happening on the north side of phase one building A? Is that, I haven't looked at the drawing, is it?
Sorry, the north side of the building. Okay. Do we have the, elevation? Oh, this one, so it's, sorry, he said north of elevation A, so it's just, it's blank, but it's just facing the school.
But they could landscape that, right? They could put trees along the backside if it's not lane.
Yeah, that's a good idea. They could
Right.
move that building, further south, cause I don't know if they would have room for that, but they could just move it down, you're right.
Cause there's how much room in between, I mean, that's something you can send back to them.
Exactly.
That would chew up a lot of their 10% or
Yeah.
additional 10% that they.
Yeah.
Sarah, can you just clarify what pedestrian focused infrastructure is?
Yes, if the buildings go closer to the sidewalk, then this is kind of a moot point, but it's really about like allowing people to move from the public realm, presumably there'll be sidewalk here, getting them safely from here to the entrance. So a lot of the time, like with the grocery store or something like that, you might have like the zebra pattern, to get people safely. And yeah, crosswalks, and giving some thought to how does a person from, who's coming to the street as a pedestrian, coming to the site as a pedestrian, how do we get that person safely from point A to point B? So it probably needs a crosswalk, or just bringing the building closer to the sidewalk.
So you could satisfy that need requirement by one sidewalk, either on the, or crosswalk, either on the left-hand side or the right-hand side of that entrance.
Exactly, yeah, I think that would be very common, yeah, what you would see.
Ideally, you would carry it all the way back to building A. To get the pedestrian all the way in.
Yeah.
Cause there's no sidewalk between phase two, building B.
Which is an issue as well.
Yeah.
And the challenge lies is, we don't know what's going in here, so there may not be a business that I'm ever going to walk to, but there might be.
But yeah,
So we have to
exactly.
plan for the safety of that pedestrian,
Or-
because there is a large space there.
Absolutely, and maybe it's not you going to the business, maybe it's someone who's working at the business, going to get some fast food on their lunch break. So it works both ways, I would say.
Even just getting from building to building if you have to.
Do we have any lighting requirements in a site like that?
I don't know if we absolutely do have lighting requirements. I think that might have been something we were missing, but engineering requires site lighting.
sorry?
Yeah, so that will be something that's, will be reviewed. Like I said, it wasn't a complete application.
They'll be required to submit a full photometric grid, which highlights and outlines how much lighting and across the whole site.
Take me through these setbacks, the front setback and the secondary front setback. Is there any major concerns from you folks as to these requests? Like, I know there's existing infrastructure in there that's going out to the site. You kind of got to build around that stuff because you're not going to tear it all up and figure it out.
I think
Tell me, Riley. Help me
We
out.
took a very quick look, and a lot of the existing infrastructure, even with the current layout, won't work. So there is already going to be a certain amount of work of reconfiguring that. So there is some flexibility with terms of setback. Now, that said, it's an industrial area. We'll have to review that again. Sarah kind of alluded to the fact that we haven't had a chance to go into a lot of details. So what's the significance of those impacts? We know, for example, these buildings, as they're currently laid out, sit or cross over some of the existing infrastructure. So we know they're going to have to do some work with that. We just don't know the significance of that yet. So I think there is opportunity, we just don't know how much.
Okay. Any other big concerns from your standpoint? Sorry, outside of the sidewalk.
Yeah, so I think that our big concerns were the sidewalk, the lack of street trees, the landscaping, and the building placement.
Right. So I think the landscaping, like I did talk to Christian about that when I was out there, and it's obviously very important when you look at what Technation's done and what Tractor Land looks like. There's a reason why those requirements are in place, because it looks a hell of a lot better with it. It does felt, so that's just part of the gig with High Rivers, that we have a high standard of that.
And for you, just that includes the street trees on 24th Street?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Yeah, so it does. Any other feedback from council? What's the next step?
The next step will be for us to give the applicant the feedback that we received today. He will go ahead and make those changes he will consider those changes and ensure that we have a complete application to do our full technical review. And then it will come to council.
Okay. All good? Thank you. Okay, let's, 224, let's just zip into, public questions. We'll do that first. Does anyone want to share anything on any of the agenda items in public? Are you in or are you out?
I guess we're in.
Okay, good.
With respect to 605 McLeod Trail Southwest, I'm not alone in observing that the unit apparently has 6 universally accessible units, 7 handicapped universally accessible units. And I believe the Albertan standard for parking stalls is 1 stall per accessible or handicapped unit. Would that be applied in this case?
Corey, do you have an answer for that, for accessibility standards for parking when you have 6 accessibility units?
That's something that I want to double check on, just related to the number of parking stalls that they've designated accessible related to those units.
Good. Good, because they could just, like, they could just redesignate some of their existing ones, is that right?
They lose spots.
Yeah, they would become larger, and then they would probably lose some landscaping if their parking spots are larger. and then they don't meet the
Wider.
So if we look at the design, on the main floor, there are two accessible, units. Then on the second floor, there are, no accessible units. And then on the third floor, there are another two. So we were I have talked with the applicant about this. They do understand that in our town plan, our requirement is 10% universally accessible units. If they're doing 17, that's 1.7, or just rounding up to 2. But they've decided that they want to do those 4, because of their own business model reasons.
Sure.
But that the requirement, I want to be clear, is 10%. It's 17 units. That's 1.7 rounded up to 2.
Perfect. What about parking allocated to those designated units?
Right, so there are 2 accessible stalls that are specifically allocated to 2, but then there's everything else in their parking lot is just normal. It's not specifically accessible.
Correct, which anybody can use.
Anybody can use it, yes.
Okay, so the question is, can you check in on provincial standards or anything as to if they have to be, if he's got 4 units, does he have to have 4 parking stalls?
Yeah, we can absolutely check in on that.
And also with respect to the space allocated for snow storage, I believe it was counted in the 40% of landscaping, and I don't assume that snow storage areas should be considered landscaping.
What is there? I didn't see. Snow storage?
That's something that will be part of the technical review, and I will specifically highlight that to our manager of public works to look at that. That being said, it is common for developers to put their snow storage on landscaped areas that are grass. Of course, they wouldn't be putting it on areas that are occupied by trees or shrubs, but it is common for developers to put their snow on grass or just truck it away.
Good.
One more question about parking. So I know that the appeal board said that it should be a ratio of 1:1, but I would like to ask if the town or the development authority is concerned that 1 parking spot per unit is not enough, specifically because of the location of the building and the hospital and the schools. I mean, everything that we've already talked about, obviously, in previous conversations, and I would like to know if it's still something that you are worried about.
It's definitely something that's under consideration when we're redoing the land use bylaw right now. That's being discussed. I think going to a 1-to-1 mandatory is a right step forward. There's no question, he's meeting that, so, the parking is a difficult thing for these developments, but I think what's been discussed leading up to this is that we absolutely have to get, for a parking style developments like this, we have to get to a 1-to-1. But that'll be all finalized in the updated land use plan. Anyone else on that one? Anybody else in the public?
Just a thought, parking. So is there no mandate on multi-use buildings to have allocated visitor stalls as well as that? There's nothing? Because most places you go to see a handful of visitor stalls, so that's not required.
Not required. That's good. Again, all in the land use bylaw review, Jeff.
Cool, thanks.
Yeah. Anything else? Nothing, Langford? Nothing? All right. Jeez, you got a lot of ticket.
Enjoy.
Okay, council, council question and answer to administration. Jenny?
On the corner of Third and, High Country Drive, the fast gas, I know it's been brought up numerous times about their weeds. Who is responsible for that? Because it's very unsightly.
That'd be us again.
The town?
It's within the right of way, correct?
It's right on the corner.
So if it's right on the corner within the road right away, it's for the town staff to take care of.
You take care of it. Thank you.
Vicky?
I just have one question. What's our, what's our plan on sidewalks? Like if, like I'm aware of a couple of sidewalk areas that have been substantially damaged by the filming in America. So how do we plan for sidewalk repair? Is that, do we do an annual count? Do we do a, this is worst, let's get to it? What's our,
So typically, Riley, jump in on the sidewalk comment. Typically, we alternate between sidewalks and pathways, alternating years. And we fix pathways 1 year and sidewalks the next. We do an inventory and inspection of all the sidewalks and then prioritize based upon what is the highest priority and focus on those areas. And we prioritize that based upon the condition assessment that's done and completed by engineering services, and then prioritize. And we try and fit within the budget. We don't necessarily come and ask for a huge amount of extra dollars, but we usually budget about $300,000 a year to do either pathways or sidewalks each and every year.
there's that,
So I'll just add, because that's the main program, it's ran through engineering. Public Works also has a very small amount of money for anything that is an immediate safety issue. So I think they have something like 20,000 a year or something to do small little bits, as there's big hazards that come up on an annual basis, in between the larger program that engineering runs.
there's a really badly deteriorated sidewalk on, 3rd Avenue and 3rd Street Southeast. I can send you pictures of it, Riley.
Yeah, if you can send me a picture, that'd be great. I think
Yeah,
that's-
it's,
Has identified already to put into next year's program.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I think it's the one we'll be talking about.
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's pretty ugly.
Yeah,
Is that the one with the, like the
Small-
surface is all chewed up,
Yeah.
Vicky?
Oh, there's no surface left.
Yeah,
much.
it's
Yeah,
on the
and
list for
then-
next year.
There's also a little ramp that's been damaged, so, right now, I think it's a safety hazard. But that's just me. Thanks.
Yeah, that was because of filming.
Yeah. Particle.
Yeah, they use high degree of salt to keep it clear.
Anything else, council? Meeting adjourned, 2:34.